Hello, BanDanna here with the first and what's hopefully going to be a long-running series of informational review videos for weapons. I'm not in the military. I'm not a weapons expert. These are all based on personal experience and personal research, and I hope that I can come to educated conclusions about the weapons that I'm talking about. If you have any constructive criticism, please leave it down there in the comments. Right down there. Please refrain from sonic flame wars or any 4chan deagle bullshit. I will come to your house and I will fucking rape your animals. I will find your dog and I will just go crazy on it and I will just fuck it. I will fuck it until it is howling, and then I will put it into the bathtub and then I'll fuck your cat until it's just a little grease spot on the floor, and then I'll slip on it and I'll hit my head and you'll find me in the morning. And then anyway, this is a review of the Mossberg 500 pump shotgun in 12 gauge. It is my most recent purchase. I love it. I think there is no better pump shotgun for this price. And a lot of people will cite the Remington 870 or the Winchester 1300 as a comparable shotgun, and a lot of people will have a sort of disposition towards those guns, either because they owned it or because they like the way it feels better to them. That's fair, but I chose the Mossberg 500 for one primary reason above the other ones, price notwithstanding, and that is reliability, and I will explain that very shortly. If you're choosing to buy a shotgun, you probably know why you've done it. It's either for personal protection or to kill fuzzy things that live in the forest, and your choice will be dictated by which application you're going to be using it for. I have a Mossberg 500 in the hunting configuration, and as you can see, it is not loaded. There is nothing in the barrel and nothing inside of the magazine tube. This is not, by the way, a factory fit and finish. This is a aftermarket tray bulk job that was done by the motherfucker who owned it before me and thought it would be an awesome idea to turn his black shotgun into a camouflage one, so nobody could see it in his hands when he was standing next to the bush. Regardless of which Mossberg you choose, it's going to have a plethora of additions and modifications that you can make for it because it is such a popular shotgun. There is a lot of aftermarket parts that you can choose and modify your shotgun with. You can turn your standard hunting Mossberg 500 into a great fighting shotgun with the addition of a shorter barrel, a non-choked barrel, and a extended magazine tube. Alright, I'm going to speak to the reliability of the Mossberg 500. As you can see, there is quite a bit of play in that slide. I am moving it up and down, side to side. It feels mushy in the hand, sort of like a buttery scone, like a scony feeling, you know, it's like a scone gun. The 870 won't have this. The 870 will feel tight in your hand, and a lot of people prefer that because it feels like a more solidly made gun, but that comes at a price, and that price is reliability. Let's look back to the AK-47. The AK-47 is quite so reliable due to the amount of space in its action that allows it to accumulate a good amount of grit and build up inside of its action before it starts jamming. And I've never seen an AK jam in all of my years, but I have seen ARs, M16s, M4s jam due to the tightness in manufacturing. They need to be well oiled, they need to be cleaned all of the time, because if anything gets inside of the gun, it can cause that really closely manufactured machinery inside of it to jam, almost like clockwork. Honestly, if you drag an M16 through a sandy, a sand dune or something like that, it's dangerous to pull the trigger. You could blow yourself up, honestly. I don't know anybody who would do that with a weapon, unless it was an AK or a Glock or something like that, which has a good amount of play inside of its action and allows for a good amount of build-up and still maintains the proper motion of the bolt and the proper chambering of each new cartridge as it comes in. And the Mossberg has this advantage with the play in its slide. You can drag this thing through a hooker's cunt 3 times, and honestly, you'll still be able to pump it, you'll still be able to fire it, and that's very important, especially for a combat shotgun. And even for a hunting shotgun, it's important, because God forbid you drop it in the field, falls in mud, you don't want to have to take down your shotgun and clean the whole thing. Whatever you're shooting at might be gone by the time you're finished cleaning your gun. And you don't want to have to do that. And I've seen people's 870s jam. I've seen it. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. And don't tell me don't tell me just don't drop your gun in the mud. Because, fuck you, it just happens, Be careful. But shit can happen. And if shit gets in your gun, you want your gun to still be able to put lead down range, and you want your gun to still function as if it hasn't been dragged through that hooker's anus. Let's talk about the ergonomics of the Mossberg 500, which I believe gives it a slight advantage over the 870 in that department as well. Mostly regarding the positioning of the controls, the safety, and the slide release. To operate the safety and the slide release on the Mossberg 500, you never have to remove your hand from the firing position. The safety is positioned on top of the gun, like so, and can be operated with the thumb, with your hand in the firing position. It still takes a little bit of force to dislodge it. You can cut down on the amount of force that you have to put in to move the safety by tightening the screw on the top. If it comes loose, it can become very difficult to actuate the safety. So you should tighten that down every chance you get. Not too tight though, because you don't want to jam it up. And the slide release, which is on the bottom, right here, near the trigger, can be actuated with the middle finger with your hand in the firing position. So in case you need to eject a misfired shell or anything like that, you never have to take your hand out of the firing position to reach around and actuate the slide release. The modifications that are available for the gun, you can put Picatinny rails on it. You can change out the stock for an AR style stock if that's your bag. Honestly, I'd recommend against adding the AR style stock just because it will interfere with the ergonomics of the controls on the gun. Not the trigger or anything like that, but the safety cannot be as easily actuated if your hand is under here on a pistol grip. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, an AR style stock has a pistol grip, which goes underneath the gun, just this part, but lower down, and it has a full stock behind it, usually collapsible stock. Telescoping rather, and oftentimes with the stock above it, you'll have to reach all the way around it to get to this the safety mechanism on top of it, and it just makes operation a little more difficult, and those few seconds can cost you your life if you're in a fighting situation. So I'd recommend going with just a standard butt stock or maybe a folding stock to allow you access to those controls a little easier than if you go with the AR style stock. There are a plethora of front ends that you can get for it, a good amount of sights. One thing I'd recommend is to put different sights on your shotgun immediately after you get it. Normal shotguns come with these bead sights. They give you the most piss-poor sight picture that you could ever possibly imagine. You want to put ghost rings or night sights or any kind of scary shit that you can think of on there to improve your sight picture, especially if you're firing slugs, because some motherfucker is making off with your cocaine. You want to know that you can hit him and you're not going to miss by a fucking mile. That being said, you can go really overboard with your modifications to a gun, and I highly recommend against it. I've seen videos with some guy. He had like 3 full Picatinny rails on it, and he had like a flashlight and a laser sight and like a fish and like 6 spoons, like in a lovely fan pattern, and it looked like wonderful. It was beautiful, but it added more weight than functionality. It's the nice things to have, but honestly, you're adding extra weight, and the trade-off for weight and functionality is going to be very minimal at that point. All you really need is a magazine tube that's appropriate for your situation, perhaps maybe a shell carrier on the butt of the gun, or maybe the receiver of the gun, and perhaps a good set of sights will always do you right. Don't use the bead sights. I really highly recommend it. A good set of night sights will do you right every time. That's about it for the Mossberg 500. Ergonomic, cheap, reliable. Highly recommend this gun. That's about it for the Mossberg 500. Thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you in your buying decision, and I hope this has persuaded you that reliability is above all things necessary when you're picking a good field or fighting weapon, and I highly recommend the Mossberg 500 in this price range. Thanks. Bye. Cheerio.